Hello, and welcome to part 3 of a 3-part series sponsored by the Federated Women's Institute of Canada. The Federated Women's Institute of Canada is a local, provincial, national, and international organization that has promoted women, families, and communities for nearly 100 years. For more information on women's institutes and how you can get involved, become a member, or donate, please visit www.fwic.ca. Today I have with me Jessica Rose. So, Jessica, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself, how you started? I know you went into journalism, correct?
I did. So I graduated in 2006, so I'm almost 10 years out of university. I went to Carleton, so I lived in Ottawa for quite a few years. So I did journalism with a focus on print.
Okay.
So since then, I've been really involved in Hamilton's literary arts community. I just left an 8-year-long publishing career, so I'm really in this transitioning stage. I work as a social media coordinator at YWCA Hamilton, and then I am also the PR chair this year at Hamilton Hive, and I'm also with Gritlit, Hamilton's Readers and Writers Festival.
Oh, okay. So, first off, can you just tell me maybe a little bit about, has anyone influenced you throughout your career or anything, or anyone you look up to, yeah?
Sure. I was really trying hard to think about this question, and a lot of the people I thought about who have really influenced me are actually people from books. So I know you're really after these, concrete people in my life, but it was really a difficult question for me. I've always been a huge reader. So even as a child, I was really drawn to these really strong female characters, whether, it was Jo in Little Women or Mary in The Secret Garden. And I think growing up with these strong female characters, they've influenced my work, especially in journalism, but also in arts organizing. A lot of the work I do with Gritlit, the Readers and Writers Festival, is programming authors with diverse voices. So we're not only hearing kind of that older white male, voice that's really common in Canadian literature. And I think a lot of that I can draw back to the voices I heard as a child in different books that I've read. And then I've also been inspired by a lot of local writers in Hamilton. I mean, everyone knows that Lawrence Hill lives in Hamilton.
Yes.
But we've got this huge wealth of some of the best authors in Canada actually live in Hamilton. And I've been so lucky to get to know a lot of these people. I mean, through social media, authors are so accessible now. And they're happy to share their experiences, their challenges. And I've been really lucky to be on the receiving end of a lot of that.
Okay, that's very interesting, having kind of characters as your influences and who you looked up to. I feel like that's not something you hear a lot about.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I'm really involved in the literary arts, so books are my world.
Yes.
It's a very solitary job. A lot of the jobs I do are very solitary. So a lot of what I get out of is from books.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You mentioned Gritlit. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, maybe?
Yeah, so Gritlit is Hamilton's Writers and Readers Festival. So we've been in Hamilton for, I think, 13 years now. So we're coming up to our annual festival, which is taking place April 7th to 10th this year. And really our mandate is bringing some of Canada's best authors right here to Hamilton, but also really celebrating the diverse, awesome authors that we have right here in the city. So we do that through our 4-day festival, which features writing workshops, readings, we've got youth programming, and then we are expanding to a lot of year-round programming as well.
Okay. Have you found it difficult in any way to kind of get that around, especially Hamilton, like the local community?
It's tough. We find writing and reading isn't as glamorous as music. I mean, Hamilton's known as it's got great bands, it's got this great music community, and we've got this great writing and reading community as well, but it's not as glamorous, and it's not as visible as the visual arts. So it's a lot of person power getting out there, doing media, postering. It's all volunteer driven. So it's tough, but every year we're seeing a little bit of growth. So that's encouraging.
That's really great then. Specifically, you as a female, though, have you faced any challenges as a writer in the community or anything?
I think as women, we're often told as children to be quieter, be politer. I think it's more difficult to have your voice heard. And I'm a classic introvert. I mean,
Okay.
it's, even being in this radio studio right now is terrifying for me. As a writer, a lot of writers are introverts, and, we work on our computers, we work on paper.
Yeah.
So having my voice heard in my younger years was difficult. I think a lot of people think of writing as a hobby.
Yes.
Like a lot of arts. And when something is a hobby, it's almost devalued. So there's a lot of, expectations that artists are going to do things for free or for exposure.
Yes.
And it's nice to be at a point in my career now that I can speak up and say, no. I expect to be compensated for the work that I'm going to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, in the earlier years, I would say that's absolutely was a challenge.
Yeah, you've worked hard to get where you are.
And exactly. And a lot of people do. And it's important that we're recognized for it.
Exactly. Your involvement with the Hamilton Hive, though, can you actually tell me about that? I found that very interesting.
Yeah, so Hive is a brand new adventure for me. If you're not familiar with it, Hive provides resources for young professionals in Hamilton through networking opportunities, articles, an annual conference. So I'm really happy to have joined the team this year as the PR chair. So yeah, like I said, it's a brand new thing for me.
Yeah.
I've only been doing it about 2 months now, but it's a great opportunity to work with a lot of young professionals in the city. And one thing we're really trying to do is dispel the myths surrounding the term young professional. A lot of people hear this word, but this term, and what does it actually mean? So that's really something we're trying to do through our marketing initiatives, our PR initiatives this year is really, what does it mean to be young? What does it mean to be a professional? And what does it mean to be both? Because the age range we do serve is 18 to 39. And a lot of people don't realize that. So that's students, but it's also people who are raising families in the city. So there's the needs across that board. It's really interesting.
That is actually, because as hearing a young professional, I think anyone maybe up to their 30s or something.
Right.
And as I'm going to be a young professional, getting into that, I find it's very hard kind of making my way into that.
Right. And I think a lot of people too don't see themselves as a professional, especially if they're a student or a recent grad. They think that they need to, have their big career job. They have to have had their first break. And it's not true. It's more about, your values, your work ethic, and those sorts of things. So it's really, we're trying to dispel that myth that everyone can be part of this.
Okay, I really like that idea. Is there any advice, though, that you can give to young women getting into being a young professional or getting into a career that's kind of in a male-dominated industry?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is really operate outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was in publishing for 8 years, and getting to the point of making that change was very, very difficult for me to realize that I needed a change in my life, but to actually do it.
Yes.
So I think, do things that are outside of your comfort zone. And one of those things is networking.
Yes.
Networking is a really awkward, tough thing for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
But there's so many organizations and networking opportunities in the city. And I think I would recommend get out there, go with a group of friends and come and have fun and meet people and, market yourself, get yourself heard.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic having a great support for the community, especially towards younger females getting into it and just kind of being intimidated by it.
Right, exactly. And I think intimidation, that's a big one. We all feel it, especially when we're early in our career. So it's nice to have organizations like Hive, and then I also work for YWCA Hamilton. So just having those organizations already in place that are accessible, that you can, go and meet people, I think is really crucial.
What work do you do with the YWCA?
I'm their social media coordinator.
Oh.
And then I also do a little bit of event planning, advocacy work. Most of the writing that is done at the YW, I do. So I get to wear a lot of hats. So it's a lot of fun.
That's nice, though, being able to kind of do different things.
Exactly, and not be tied to a desk all the time.
Exactly.
I think when I was looking for a new job, that was a really big one for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a great fit.
Nice. So the Federated Women's Institute of Canada, they have WI groups nationwide, and they definitely want the support in the communities. Do you find it important that we really do have these? Because I know you mentioned it beforehand, and those support groups, I definitely agree, and just tying it back in with the women's institutes across Canada.
Yeah, I think my last career, like I mentioned, was very solitary. I commuted out of the city. So much of my life was spent on a train and in an office. So a lot of my networking and all of that was done through social media. And I think social media is such a wonderful tool, but there are limits.
Yes.
And I think the idea of really gathering together as a group is so important because it can mean, more career opportunities. And one thing I like about when you bring groups together, especially groups of women, you're not only bringing together different experiences and challenges, but I like when you can bring together different industries.
Yes.
It's so nice to be in a room where it's, women working in the trades, women, it's a nice wide range, and you learn really about our similarities and our differences. Also, networking can be a lot of fun, is what I'm realizing. At the YW last year, we did a speed networking event. So it was almost like speed dating, except you were gaining, career advice and opportunities. So it's once you can get over that kind of intimidation factor, I think it's a great way for women especially to get together.
I absolutely agree with that very much. It's scary kind of getting into an industry that you're unsure of a little bit.
Exactly. And I think there is a lack of women leaders in a lot of different industries. So I think when we create mentorship opportunities like these ones, we're elevating more women leaders so that the future is brighter, I think.
Perfect. That is very good to hear and kind of have that backbone and that encouragement. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much. We have been here with Jessica Rose. This is sponsored by the Federated Women's Institute of Canada, and this was the third part of the series. Thank you very much for listening. If you would like some more information, please visit www.fwic.ca. Federated Women's Institutes of Canada. Woman inspired.